So, I just watched Gravity Falls for the first time. Is it as good as everyone says it is? This show was nothing but a nuisance and I'm glad to be rid of it. And in this video, I want to talk about one of my favorite aspects of the show that I barely ever see get mentioned, even though in my opinion, it's what takes Gravity Falls from an amazing show to a damn near perfect one. That being the way this show takes the simple concept of foreshadowing and cranks up its effectiveness all the way up to 11. And to show you what I mean, I got 3 examples. A small one, a larger one, and one that defined the entire series. So sit back and try not to get your eyes stolen as we look at 3 of the best ways Gravity Falls used foreshadowing. And hey, if you enjoyed my work, consider subscribing because, surprise, I'm uploading more often now. Also, I'm still not monetized. And I can be funny, sometimes intentionally. Now, when I say a small example of foreshadowing in the context of Gravity Falls, I'm talking about when there's a detail that, just like the pituitary gland, may be little, but it has big plans for later in the episode. My favorite example of this, and the one that inspired me to make this video, comes in the episode Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons, where Grunkle, Stan, and Mabel have to save Ford and Dipper from Weird Al Yankovic in a Dungeons & Dragons style game. And thanks to Stan getting the perfect number during the final die roll, they succeed. But afterwards, Stan reveals that he used a piece of gum to force the die to land on the right number. How that works with no one seeing the gum, I'm not sure, but regardless, it's a cool moment. And what makes it even better is that if you paid attention, you would have noticed Stan grabbing a piece of gum before the game even started, chewing it for a few more seconds, and if you're really observant, you might even notice what might be the exact second Stan gets the gum on the die. And the first time I watched this scene, I was curious as to why they would show such a random detail, and then proceeded to get my mind absolutely blown by the gum actually being important. It's a testament as to how foreshadowing something like this actually helps viewers get even more enjoyment out of an already great episode. Because imagine if Stan hadn't been shown with the gum earlier. The reveal at the end wouldn't have been nearly as cool, and frankly, it would have felt like kind of a cop-out. A Deus Ex Machina, if you will. So if it's possible to get a lot of satisfaction out of a small case of foreshadowing, what could a larger one do? Perhaps instill a bit of hurry, but it bullets. Huh. That was weird. I'm sure I can fix it in post. Now, for a larger example, we have the episode Dipper and Mabel versus the Future. Specifically, it's at the end of the episode where Mabel, currently upset about how Dipper is leaving her to stay in Gravity Falls, is contacted by good old Blendin Yowie Blanchin Blandin, who offers to trap Gravity Falls in a time bubble so Mabel doesn't have to leave. And in a moment of desperation, she accepts. But wait! It's a trap! Turns out our old pal Bill Cipher took control of Blendin to trick Mabel into ushering in Weirdmageddon. What deal did Bill make with Blendin? I have absolutely no idea. However, aside from the general weirdness that Blendin would appear out of nowhere to help Mabel for almost no reason, did you notice anything else strange about this scene? Blendin's blending in. A little too perfectly. Nearly every time we see him going from invisible to visible, or vice versa, he struggles with it, but not this time. An extra clue that things aren't as they seem. And it's great how this show is able to take a recognizable and comedic trait of a recurring character and use that to their advantage to make an ominous scene feel even more creepy. But if Blendin's invisibility joke was built up over a few episodes, what happens when you have nearly every episode of the series slowly building up to one singular reveal? When it comes to Gravity Falls, there are no 2 bigger mysteries than what is Stan hiding and who wrote the journals. And by the time the show reveals both these answers in what is my favorite episode, Not What He Seems, all the clues started to click into place. Stan has a brother, and he wrote the journals. And while both of these reveals shook the fandom to its core, it wasn't completely unexpected, as ever since episode 1, this show has been slowly building up towards the grand reveal of the author, Ford Pines. Don't believe me? Here's some proof. In episode 2, we see Stan's car, which has the license plate with these letters on it, which seems like it might be short for Stanley Mobile, but the main problem is that we constantly hear Stan's full name is Stanford, not Stanley. In episode 19, we see a younger version of Stan, but in the back we also see someone else with boxing gloves with Stan's same hair, and even a little tuft near the back, which also appears on Dipper and Mabel. And if that's still not enough, how about in the season 2 premiere where Stan, while working on the portal machine, literally puts on a glove with 6 fingers. Also, there was that whole McGucket is the author hoax created by the creator himself, which due to not being in the fandom at the time, I completely missed. But my aim is getting better! But finally, you have them all. 3 great examples of Gravity Falls doing awesome foreshadowing. So until next time, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram, buy gold, subscribe, bye!